Meet Dumb and Dumber, and the former military intelligence officer who just nailed them to the wall. We all knew it was going to be a clown show, but since MAGA senators have no spine, the circus kept playing, and the clown car just exploded. Must have been a Tesla. The Atlantic broke a story that has been confirmed by the Trump administration that future unemployed Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth not only shared classified information on an unclassified platform called Signal, he shared that information with a journalist who was on the chat. And the only thing dumber than that is the commander-in-chief's response.
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis?
Right.
Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
Well, if Trump doesn't know anything about it, former Navy intelligence officer and cabinet secretary Pete Buttigieg does. I'm going to show a series of clips of Buttigieg dissecting the key points of this enormous and illegal breach of security committed by an unqualified and incompetent Secretary of Defense. So stick around until the end because the last clip is unbelievable. Here's one of the first things Buttigieg had to say about it.
And I got to say, all the things that I've seen happen in the last few weeks, it's taken a lot to feel genuinely shocked, but this is genuinely shocking. We're talking about incredibly sensitive, highly classified information that they didn't just discuss on an unclassified system. They sent war plans to the wrong guy. Now, they're lucky, and we're lucky, that wrong guy was a responsible, patriotic, ethical journalist who just had on this program who knew not to publish anything that could put people's lives in danger. But I got two questions on my mind. One, what if this had, in fact, gone to somebody else? I mean, somebody who could plausibly be in some of these people's cell phones. I don't know, the Chinese ambassador or Russian negotiator. And the other question on my mind is, how many other times has something like this happened? This is the one that we know about, but how many other times could they have screwed up like this in a way that puts American troops and families in harm's way?
So of all the things that are spilling out of this massive blunder by Hegseth and Vice President J.D. Vance, who was on the chat, this is one of the most important things. As Secretary Buttigieg points out, this is the instance where Hegseth got caught. There is no reason whatsoever to think this is an isolated incident, which raises the question, why on earth are they communicating information on an unsecure platform? And the answer to that is obvious. They don't want to leave a record of what they are discussing. They are trying to shield themselves from any future Freedom of Information Act requests. And that's illegal. Watch this next clip, though, because Secretary Buttigieg is going to make clear how egregious, intentional, and illegal Hegseth's actions actually were.
The whole point of classified information systems is to keep classified information on them. And by the way, I don't know everything about how Pete Hegseth's computers work, but I know this. In my experience, both in the cabinet and as an intelligence officer, you would have to go out of your way to take classified information and move it into an unclassified system. I don't know if a lot of folks understand how this works, but it's not like there's a computer where you might get an unclassified email and a classified email in the same inbox. They're not even the same computers. By design, it is very difficult for information to move from one system to the other unless somebody goes out of their way to do that. And, I don't want to speculate on how the FBI will respond to this or how Congress will respond to this, but I know that it was drilled into us back when I was an intelligence officer that if you ever took top secret information moved it over to an unclassified system and disclosed it, that would be a crime. I mean, I can't tell you how much this was drilled into us when I was in the military. So much so that I would have bad dreams when I was a junior officer about accidentally maybe bringing in my cell phone into a classified area where you're supposed to physically check in your cell phone and not even bring it into that space, so that if there's some listening device, that information couldn't possibly get out. And by the way, I've got to zoom out and make sure everybody understands why this information is classified. It's not just classified because it's interesting or because it's special. By definition, when something is highly classified, it is highly classified because if it got into the wrong hands, it could harm national security or get American troops killed.
But Secretary Buttigieg wasn't done just explaining how malevolent and illegal Hegseth and Vance's actions were. He also made clear what's at stake.
Do you think someone should be fired over this?
Absolutely. I mean, if I made a mistake like this as a lieutenant, I would be probably not just fired, but probably indicted and tried and maybe in prison. And if there's not accountability for a screw up like this, especially from a president who used to fire people every day on television for sport, what are we even doing here?
So are these people going to be held accountable? Are MAGA politicians just going to roll over like the confirmation process? But the closing remarks belong solely to the poster boy for DEI and soon-to-be unemployed Secretary of Defense, Pete Delete Hegseth.
Under the previous administration, we looked like fools. Not anymore.
I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.